She looked at me with exhaustion in her eyes. Not the kind you get from a bad night's sleep, but the kind that builds day after day from being surrounded by people and never truly being alone. I guess I'll just prep myself to make small talk all through my lunch again, she said, half laughing. But I could tell it wasn't a joke. That moment hung in the air. I knew she didn't want to talk about it, not really. But I also knew what was coming. It always started like this. See, my wife works as a nanny, a demanding job on its own, but made harder by one simple detail. She's an introvert, and not the kind who just likes alone time. I'm talking about the kind who needs it, like oxygen, like food. Like if she doesn't get an hour to recharge, everything inside her starts to crumble. She works long shifts, 9 hours or more, managing meals, playtime, emotions, nap schedules, diapers, tantrums, the entire emotional ecosystem of a young child all day long. Her one break? Nap time. That's when she eats, maybe scrolls her phone, maybe just sits in silence. She needs that hour to gather herself before the second half of her day hits. But recently, there's been a recurring problem. The family she works for, lovely people, genuinely, often has house guests. Grandparents visiting for a week, a cousin staying over for a few days, out-of-town friends dropping by for a long weekend. And when that happens, the house becomes a social arena. Her break, her one sliver of solitude, disappears. Because as soon as she sits down to eat, someone's there, making small talk, being friendly. And my wife, polite as ever, nods along, smiles, asks about their travel. Meanwhile, she's dying inside. Over time, I watched this pattern play out, and every time, she came home just a little more drained, not angry, not even frustrated, just hollowed out, like she gave everything and didn't have a second to refill the tank. So, one day, I said something. I told her, I think you need to communicate your boundaries. Maybe let them know, up front, that you really need your lunch break to recharge. You don't need to be rude, just honest. The moment I said it, I saw her shoulders tighten. She looked at me, not with anger, but with something colder. Disappointment. She didn't yell. She didn't argue. She just shut down, got short. And that hurt worse than anything. At first, I didn't understand. I thought I was helping. I thought I was offering a solution. But the air between us changed, and I was left standing there, confused and quiet, while she stared off at nothing. I kept asking myself, did I say something wrong? Because from my side, it seemed so simple. Say what you need. Put up healthy boundaries. People will understand. And if they don't, that's on them, right? But then, I started reading the silence, and I realized maybe it wasn't so simple. Not for her. Not in that house. Not with those people. Because this isn't just a case of house guests chatting too much. It's more complicated. These guests aren't her family. They're the employer's family. The cousin of her boss. The friend of her boss. The mother-in-law of her boss. And in that hierarchy, she's the hired help. She can't risk offending someone who might, even unintentionally, complain to her employer. She can't afford to seem rude or antisocial or too much. Even a small boundary, said kindly, could be twisted. What if the guest says, "Oh, she didn't want to eat with me," or "She acted like she was too good to talk"? Now she's a liability. Now her job's on the line. And all she wanted was to eat in peace. Suddenly, my advice didn't feel so helpful anymore. It felt naive, patronizing even. She didn't need a lecture about boundaries. She needed someone to understand how trapped she felt. And I missed it. Instead of hearing her exhaustion, I jumped into action, tried to fix something she'd already lived 100 times. And here's the worst part. I think I made her feel alone, even with me. Because when someone vents, when they let you peek into their private burden, they don't always want answers. Sometimes they just want to be seen, held, heard. But I thought I was being practical. I told her, look, I know it's hard, but it's either uncomfortable for them once or uncomfortable for you every single day they're here. And maybe that's true. But it wasn't my discomfort. It wasn't my job on the line. It wasn't me having to stand in that kitchen, explaining to someone's cousin why I don't want to chat over turkey sandwiches. That was her risk. And I didn't respect that. I made it about logic when it was about survival. So when she got quiet with me, when her tone changed, it wasn't because she didn't love me. It was because I didn't love her the right way in that moment. I didn't listen. I solved. And in doing so, I made her problem feel smaller than it was. You know, someone on Reddit later said something that stuck with me. They said, sometimes the kindest thing you can ask is, do you want a solution? Or do you just want to vent? God, I wish I'd asked that. I wish I'd paused, taken a breath, and simply said, I hear you. That sounds awful. Is there anything I can do to make it easier? But I didn't. I went straight into fix-it mode. And now, here I am, wondering if I'm the asshole for trying to help the wrong way. So, am I? Am I the asshole for suggesting to my wife that she communicate her desire for a people-less lunch break? Or was I just a well-meaning fool who forgot that not every battle can be fought with words, especially when your job depends on being silent? You tell me. Was I wrong for not just listening? Or was I trying to help in the only way I knew how? Because sometimes, being a good partner doesn't mean offering the perfect advice. Sometimes, it just means sitting in the discomfort with them, not solving it, not shrinking it, just being there. Maybe that's what she really needed all along. This story isn't about a fight. It's about the misfire of love. A moment when one partner reached for logic and the other just needed to feel safe. It's a reminder that empathy isn't about solving problems. It's about entering them. Not every vent needs a blueprint. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is sit with someone in their quiet pain and say, I see you. I get it. You don't owe me an answer. And especially in American work culture, where boundaries are hard, politeness is currency, and jobs can be lost over a single uncomfortable interaction. Sometimes, silence is survival. So next time someone you love opens that door of vulnerability, ask yourself, are they asking for help or just asking to be heard? And to you, the listener, have you ever tried to fix something when someone just needed your presence? Have you been on the other side, needing space, but getting advice instead? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this isn't just one couple's story. It's a lesson in the art of listening. And in a world full of noise, maybe that's the real love language.